Hi, welcome to another episode of Rise, where we are looking at how we take our life and allow it to rise above expectations, to rise above where we currently are, to rise above the culture that we live in. How do we rise and become that person that God has called us to be? See, we spend a lot of our lives spending and expending a lot of energy on figuring out if we measure up. That phrase, by the way, comes all the way back from the 1800s. Even in childhood, people start comparing themselves with siblings or kids at school, and it never seems to stop. That trouble, by the way, goes all the way back to Cain and Abel, if you go back into the Old Testament. See, most of the time, we don't go about the measuring up process in a wise way. The result is the way we feel about ourselves takes a beating, and the way we evaluate others is skewed. We always look at ourselves as we're less than someone else, and we always look at someone else as if they're better than us. And so as a result, our lives get wonky. Romans 12:3 says that we should think of ourselves with sober judgment. There's only one accurate measurement that leads to a healthy self-assessment. The question is, have you found it? The question is, what's your measure? What's your standard? What's the mark? Is it a true one? Have you ever heard about the little boy who found a long stick and cut notches to assume that he assumed to be accurate measurements? He went running home with that stick with all the notches in it and said, Mom, I made this ruler and I measured myself. I'm 7 foot tall. Well, the problem is, if you use the wrong measurements, our own self-perception gets biased. I know that when I say that, I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking to somebody else that you know. Because surely we wouldn't be self-biased about ourselves. But the only true way of measuring up is given in Ephesians 4:13 when it says that we should strive to be mature in the Lord, measuring up to the full and complete standard of Christ. What that means is that Jesus is our measuring stick. He's the only one with whom we should be making comparisons. A little soul searching might reveal that we compare ourselves to friends and neighbors more than we do to the Lord. And you have to ask yourself the question, are you finding others to measure up against so you don't feel so bad about yourself? Or are you using the standard of Jesus to be your measuring stick to see how you're doing when it comes to elevating your life and living a Christ-like existence? I want you to learn to identify with the measurements that Jesus gives us and use him as our model to see how we measure up so that we can rise above the world around us and become the people we were created to be. We'll pick that topic up in our next episode of Rise.